Don Lemon goes into a church, okay, and he sees this pastor. This pastor is there minding his own business, doing his thing, and all of a sudden, everybody sees this clip going viral, okay? And the clip is of Don Lemon with this pastor, and the pastor's like, what are you doing? Like, let us do our thing. Just watch this clip to kind of get an idea what's going on here. Go ahead, Rob.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here. Okay, that's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I ask that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here, we're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, Rob, give us the context of this. This is what? This is at a church, I believe, in Minneapolis, right?
Yes, it's in St. Paul. From what I found, the church is in St. Paul. The pastor that is at the church also works for the local ICE organization, and that is why the protesters showed up to protest his church service. But apparently what they violated was called the FACE Act, which prohibits you stopping people in a house of worship, and that's punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
Vinny, where are you at with this?
Well, okay. I know from time to time I speak about evil on this podcast, and I want people to know I'm not doing it out of repetitiveness. I'm not doing it because I have a lack of content. I just want to show people over and over what we're dealing with. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, it talks about not flesh and blood, but about evil people, okay? I honestly think Minnesota is cursed. In 2024, Rob has a video. Rob, you can just fast forward it to the end. Satanic worshipers honored Tim Walz with the plaque celebrating his refusal to oppose the spread of Satanism at the state capitol. Look at this. Yeah, Pat, let her read this, Rob. Go ahead. This is in their state capitol.
Worshippers, thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the state capitol building. Satan has a special place for you.
Wait, what?
This is in the state capitol.
Place for you?
This is a plaque. This was a plaque of Baphomet expressing gratitude for a Democrat-aligned coalition of Satan worshipers. And the inscription proclaims that Satan has a place reserved for Governor Tim Walz.
This is where, though? This is in
the
Minnesota?
state capitol in 2024. I don't know if it's still there, Pat, but this is what I'm trying to tell people. And Rob nailed it. The freedom, it's the freedom of access to clinic entrances, the FACE Act, federal law that makes it a crime to use force, threats, or physical obstruction to prevent someone from accessing a place of worship, okay? And Don Lemon knows what he's doing. Immediately after this, he was at the airport trying to cover his tracks saying, I didn't know. There's videos of him before with the girl that was behind it, kissing her and knowing what he's doing. He's not dumb, okay? Do what you want, protest wherever you want. People are trying to worship and be in church. How many Catholic priests, Elon, we talked about this in the back, were arrested for trying to tell people to not have abortions? They've arrested Catholic priests and gave them 6 months in prison, okay? And this is the one thing that's bothering me about this. Pat, you nailed it, that it's going to keep going over. How many more warnings? How many more investigate launches? How many more? Pam Bondi's tweets yesterday were so infuriating. I know the AG, the Assistant Attorney General, she was saying, we're going to look into it, we're going to look into it. Look into what? You have the video. This is exactly what the statute says that they're doing wrong, and it infuriates me. It infuriates me because if Democrats were in charge, every single person in Minnesota would be in jail right now. From the mayor to the governor to the protesters, anybody involved with this tomfoolery would have been freaking locked up, but it's Republicans, okay? They just bark and Democrats bite. It drives me crazy.
Tom, where are you at with this?
Well, I'll tell you where I'm at. Not to be repetitive, we can go back to right after 9/11. And in New York City, conservatives and Americans were warned not to block the mosques that were in New York, that the FACE Act would be, that you would be violating the FACE Act and you would be prosecuted. You can have a protest in the park with a permit against Islam or radical Islam, but what you can't do is get on the sidewalk in front of the mosque and make a large mob, even if you're just standing there peacefully, and prevent them from having access to their house of worship. I'm not defending Islam. I'm telling you, this is what the FACE Act does. And if the Assistant Attorney General, and that's what I want to focus on, if you're really going to put a tweet up to get people like me or Vinny or people that are appalled by this to, oh, great, the Attorney General's office has responded to it. No. What are you doing? Don Lemon was there as a facilitator. He wasn't with the organized group that we see, but he was facilitating it. He was coming in there. He was waving. And so he was actively part of it. So I believe that Don Lemon was an accessory to the violation of the FACE Act. And I think Don Lemon and the people who are there, the ones that organized it, should be prosecuted. Because do you think today that if a group of conservatives did this at a mosque, that there would be prosecutions? In 5 seconds.
Yeah.
In 5 seconds. So why isn't there a prosecution against the organizers? And then Don Lemon, sorry, dude, you trespassed. You came in here. You were interrupting it. Oh, it wasn't freedom of speech. You're even misquoting statutes. Sorry, dude, you're an accessory to it.
Let me show this, and I'm going to come to Vinny. Here's Don Lemon. Here's a different clip. Watch this. Vinny, I'm going to come to you after this.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, is to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably, this is the beginning of what's going to
That guy, Don Lemon, serves a different master than we. He also said, this is the beginning, and I quote, this is the beginning of what's going to happen here. Okay? And thank God nobody in this church was armed, or God forbid something happened, because that's what they want. You said this earlier, Pat, in the green room. They're looking for that next thing. This is the type of person that's paid, God knows who's actually paying him, probably George Soros or the whatever society that he runs. Yep. This is the type of stuff, Tom, the open society, that they're pushing, and they send people like this in. Okay, this is exactly what they want. I'm tired, and I know I'm speaking for the majority of people out there. I am sick and tired of the waiting and the launching and the writing letters and referrals and Clintons and everything. Enough already, okay? Because you nailed it, Pat. Something is about to happen. It's only a matter of days, maybe a week. Somebody is going to shoot. And Tom, you mentioned the mosque. If they came into a mosque, trust me, those people would have done people would have been hurt. Don Lemon's ass would have been handled in that church. This I'm sorry.
He may have liked it, but Elon, go ahead. You were going to say,
conservatives.
What would have been handled, Vincent?
Conservatives don't do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don Lemon's an activist. He's not a journalist. He's pushing for escalation. He went in there before he knew any of the claims were verified. So he went in there with an intention of escalating a situation in a private church where he had unverified claims, just to get the media attention, the escalation, to ramp people up. And it's disgusting. The left has a habit of attacking Christians. It is a problem in this country. People will only tolerate it for so long. There's a massive hypocrisy in the country right now. And it's disgusting to see. There is nothing, and I've thought about this many times, that would push me to go harass an innocent person who is just trying to worship, regardless of anything else. There is nothing that would get me into a mosque to go harass a random Muslim who is trying to worship, just like there's nothing that could get me to do it for a Christian or Jew. But the left does not live by those standards. They will take action. They will do whatever they can to push you. And then the second anything happens in return, they have their martyr, they have their story. It's just very frustrating to see.
Adam, where are you at?
Well, I think we need to stop talking about Don Lemon. He's become completely irrelevant. That's one part of this. The word that comes to mind is midterms. So the signal through all the noise is, thank God this is happening in January, not a month before midterms.
Yeah.
Because the way this is playing out, reasonable people who are not very involved in politics are looking at this, being like, what is going on? My mom texted me, she's from Minneapolis. She's like, what is going on in Minneapolis? People are scared to go in the streets. Oh my God. I go, Mom, are you scared of the police? No. I go, you know who's scared of the police? Criminals. So a lot of people, if they're criminals, should be very scared of walking around the streets of Minneapolis. Rightfully so. Tom Homan, the border czar, said something very interesting. He said, we need to do a better job of our messaging. Because if this were the midterms and this was happening today, Republicans could potentially get smoked. Because an average person looks at the chaos and they go, well, I don't know about this. Trump should be the law and order candidate who diffuses the chaos. Biden and the BLM and the riots and the wokeism, that's their thing. Trump needs to get a hold of this, just like he sent the National Guard to D.C. to clean up a lot of different cities. They need to clean this up without killing people. I think Tom Homan said 70% of the time we're going after blatant criminals. Let's vocalize that.
That's not how this works, though.
Sure.
Because when you're saying Trump has to clean it up. Okay. So, Rob, can you do me a favor? Go to PBD Podcast Instagram and go to the clip of ICE in 2014 under Obama. Just go under that, and there's a clip. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you. I'll forward it to you. I want the audience to see this. This is a CNN clip during Obama of what the ICE was doing, okay, at that time, and look how they're covering it, how difficult their job is. Go ahead, Rob, play this clip. Go ahead.
Just before the sun rises in the Windy City, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents fan out across Chicago to arrest criminals in the U.S. illegally.
Tac 1, Tac 2, Tac 3.
CNN was granted exclusive access to witness some of those raids.
How quiet it is.
Just watch, and then I'm going to show you something else right after.
We got 3 targets this morning. Some of the neighborhoods a little sketchy, so we got to make sure it's not just the target we're looking after, but other people around us.
They want to come out extra early, like right now, because they want to catch these people before they go to work. That's why it starts so early in the morning.
Ready to check? All right, let's roll, guys.
Okay, you see that. Now watch this. Rob, can you do me a favor? Go to that clip that I sent you. Look at this. Look at this. Barack Obama in 2015 awarded Tom Homan the Presidential Award for service for making America safer at ICE. 10 years later, liberals want Tom Homan killed. It's the same Tom, but a different Democratic Party. What's the moral of the story here? I don't think there is winning here for Trump. I really don't think. If you remember a year ago, it's probably 2020. It's not even a year ago. I would say it's 2024 July, August. And we're talking about how many million. It was the month where there was a record-breaking 228,000 people that came in. Could have even been, November or October, record-breaking. Most illegal immigrants crossing the border. And then they said, this guy sends me a package. I'll never forget. I talked about this the other day briefly with the last Home Team podcast we did with Ann Coulter. The guy sends me a packet, and he says, Patrick, this is going to be the nastiest thing to get rid of all these people. It's going to be so difficult. And I'm reading the entire report at the house, and all I thought about is the moment they get in, the optics, to do this many people to get rid of, there is no way you can do it. Like, I'm getting a call from a friend, somebody you guys all know, a friend. This is not good. Why are you guys doing this? I'm like, do you realize they're checking IDs of citizens? That's what they're doing. But that's what they can do. And that's what they're supposed to do, to check to see if you have an ID or not. Why do you have an ID? So somebody can check your ID to find out if you're legal or not. That is not illegal. That's not something that they can't do. But because it's going to go to the heart, there is no winning. You said something, Trump's got to get a control of this. Notice under Biden, there was no protesting. Why not, though? Is it because Biden's such a great leader that there doesn't require protesting? Or is it the fact that You have to make chaos seem under a president to not want it again. They're playing this thing so perfectly well. And the media is running with it in such a perfect way that the American people, the percentage on the left and the independents that just watch the news are like, oh my God, this is horrible.